When is an NFL team the equivalent of a fantasy train wreck? When do we just ignore completely one team, say, I'm not drafting anyone from there. I don't care where they fall. It's just not worth it. It seems to happen every year, one or two teams in particular. Maybe there's one bright spot on one team and you just say, I can't pass him up. The Saints this year kind of fit the bill. Alvin Kamara is primed for another great season as long as he can, stay durable. That's really what it comes down to. He's as good as they come for all these years. It's incredible what he's been able to do. He was drafted and entered as a third stringer, essentially, on a team that was jam-packed with talent, and he's carved out an incredible career. Each summer, the risks become a little bit greater that the greatness of Kamara will be in the rearview mirror. And there's Chris Olave, fantastic receiver. But we've seen what happens when he doesn't have a very good quarterback. I mean, it's not his fault. It's just the reality. He had so many awful performances through no fault of his own or very little fault. I didn't watch every game. I don't know, but I'm assuming by and large, it's quarterback play. I mean, when you're the number one receiver and you get 400 yards and a touchdown in 8 games, that's a problem. And that's not a problem for Olave, who has the track record, even in his young career, of being much better than that. But when Spencer Rattler is throwing to you and a mostly injured Derek Carr is throwing to you, there's only so much you can do. So the Saints went all in on staying competitive, even though they are one of the biggest long shots to win the Super Bowl, by drafting a soon-to-be 26-year-old rookie in Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough, I think he had like 7 years in college through no fault of his own, injuries. Good for him. He's made it through. He's made it to the NFL. He has a good shot at winning the starting job. And on paper, he looks like he could be a pretty good quarterback. He's also a rookie, and his future in terms of dynasty looks dim. When you invest in a nearly 26-year-old rookie quarterback, you're kind of saying, after his first contract, that might be it for this guy. If you're going to re-sign someone, even a quarterback that generally has longevity in the NFL, more than other positions, this could be it. This could be the biggest payday for Shough, his rookie contract. Hopefully it isn't for his sake. But this is a really troublesome situation if you are a fantasy manager and you are considering drafting anyone on the Saints. And I've talked about the two best, which that's the low-hanging fruit. But you also have the continually underwhelming and or injured Kendra Miller, who was supposed to eventually replace Alvin Kamara. He seems undraftable on this team. If rookie Devin Neal somehow leapfrogs Miller and becomes the handcuff. Yeah, I love rookie handcuffs. Like, there's something exciting about that. Who knows what they could do? But do you want to burn a roster spot behind Alvin Kamara on a team that might realistically have only 25 offensive touchdowns the entire season? Rashid Shaheed, who's carved out also a really impressive career for himself, considering I don't even think he was drafted. I'm trying to remember, but he wasn't expected to be a perennial number 2 receiver on any team. But he's done quite well for himself. And actually last year he did on a per game basis better than Olave. So he's entering the season with a great quarterback. He could be a 1,000-yard guy. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, unless I'm sadly mistaken. Then you've got Brandon Cooks returning to his former team. Maybe it's kind of like if you rent out an apartment, somewhere in your 20s and then you have a career, have a spouse, have kids, you retire. Let's say you get divorced just for the sake of this analogy, and you're on your own again, and you move back into that apartment, and you're older, creakier, the things on the top shelves you can't reach anymore without a stool. That's kind of Brandon Cooks at nearly 32 years old, finishing out his career on a team where he made a name for himself, but he really can only be the spoiler on a team like this. He's especially untested rookie, almost 26-year-old quarterback at the helm. So it's a team that doesn't inspire confidence. Of course, it all starts and ends with Shough. If Shough is, an incredible rookie quarterback who immediately steps in and elevates his offense, then ridicule this podcast episode, please. Like, I have no business talking about this if I am completely off. But the odds seem pretty safe that as good as Kamara is, and as reduced as his ADP is, he's like the 15th ranked running back. There's still enough risk there where you know what you're getting into. You know that you're hoping for the rookie quarterback just dumping the ball off to Kamara 80 times, 5 times a game, let's say, which is totally doable for Kamara. And then suddenly he's instant high floor, probably top 10 running back, even if he doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. The rest of it is a complete crapshoot. And that's the problem, that as questionable as this offense is, you would like to see Olave be an easy get. His ADP is 37. That should be an easy get. But if he performs like he did last year with Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler, then even his ADP of 37 doesn't look that hopeful, especially if Shough falters or if he gets hurt and Rattler takes over. This could be a disaster. And why burn a roster spot on a guy like Olave unless you're pretty much assured that he's going to be a top 30 receiver? And that's not an assurance I don't think anyone can give. Maybe not even Olave. Shaheed's ADP is 56. That kind of makes sense. But again, do you want to draft him? Do you want to draft him and have a number 2 receiver in a potential bottom 5 offense? When would you start him? Would you start him in a bye week and hope he gets 60 yards and 4 catches? Like, that would be pretty cool. But there's probably guys on waivers in a league like that you could get that are going to give you similar, possibilities. Even a number 3 receiver and a much better passing attack could be better than Shaheed this season. So it's a challenging situation unless we just agree that, hey, we're not going to draft Saints this year. I don't care if Kamara falls to 18, 19. I'm not going to go for it. I'm not going to take the bait. Now we're going to find out soon, in, preseason games, what Shough looks like facing off against various degrees of defenses. Some first string, some second, some even third, perhaps. Shough's probably going to get a lot of reps. And we're going to get some sense from there of whether he looks like he's NFL ready. And maybe Olave's ADP will improve slightly. If Shough looks good, maybe Kamara's will improve slightly. That still doesn't instill me with a lot of confidence at this stage. So I am largely bailing on the Saints, largely meaning I have no intention right now of drafting any Saints. There is a chance I will have a weak spot and Olave will drop to, there will be 48 receivers off the board and Olave will be sitting there and I'll just go, fine. Maybe they'll trade him. It'll be one of those deals. But at the end of the day, it is much easier to just say, you know what? That team, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not getting into that. I'm going to focus on teams with better offenses, more scoring opportunities, and I'm going to not take the bait, even if they fall in my lap. Sometimes that's just a good feeling, and it's one less thing to worry about. I'm BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners is the blog, the Facebook community, over 16,000 people is at Fantasy Football for Winners. Reach out anytime. I'm happy to answer every question as I've been doing for over a decade. I'll see you tomorrow.